Back with some more fixing up this old Jeep I got for $2 grand. Today I'll show you how I fix some vacuum lines, change my starter, service my transmission, and more. Start out with this check engine light that's been on since the day I picked up the Jeep. Since my Jeep does not have an OBD1 or 2 port to hook a scan tool up, I had to pull the flash code. You can do this by turning the key on and off twice, then leaving it on the third time. This will make the check engine light flash a number of times where you can get the code number and look it up. You can see my flash codes. The only one to worry about is code 32, which I assumed had to do with my mess of cut vacuum lines. This thing was in the trunk of the Jeep when I bought it, and I assumed it might go in this area with all the cut vacuum lines, but I wasn't really sure. I was able to figure out where this thing goes by finding this picture on Google and connecting vacuum lines where they should fit in reference to this picture. You can see I have it in place there, connected with vacuum lines and the electrical plug as well. The engine didn't seem to run any different before or after doing this, but it did solve my check engine light.
Oh my god, this is the longest we've been rolling without a check engine light. There's nothing on there. What the heck? Is it fixed? No way. It's gonna come on eventually, I know it.
I'm not sure if there's really a way to tell if the EGR valve is working or if just having something plugged into that electrical connector is all that was needed to make the check engine code go away. I'll probably replace the whole assembly eventually, but it's at the bottom of my list. I also replaced my PCV valve and connected the correct vacuum line to it that was previously plugged up.
According to this, the bottom one goes to climate control and cruise control. And the bottom one right here, right there, is plugged up right now. I'm wondering if this both go to that one down there.
Climate control is stuck only going through the defrost vents, and my cruise control does not work either, so it would make sense that the only 2 cut vacuum lines left would affect those features. I just wasn't sure if that's exactly where those lines should go, so I left them plugged up for now. Now let's move on to servicing my engine and transmission, as well as attempting to fix Overdrive, which currently is not working.
Here's the old filter, looking rather dirty, and here's my new-ish one that the previous owner gave me. Didn't bother getting another one. I just figured I'd use his. So this is what was under the pan. This thing is gross. I mean, this magnet, it's got like grease all over it. You can see like all of these metal shavings and stuff in it. That's how it's supposed to be, and that's why there's a magnet in the bottom of the transmission pan to suck all that shit up. But why there is literally, I don't know, grease looking like what's on there? I don't know. I don't know if it's mixing with this shit. Oh god, there's a lot of small metal flakes that I just got out of the bottom of this. Oh,
don't do it to me. I beg you. No.
This is probably parts of the gasket there, but that's not looking great. Bit of an issue. So this is the Overdrive solenoid right here for sure. It's held in by 1, 2, 3 T25 Torx screws, I believe. Easy peasy to change out as far as I know. I'm not watching a video or anything for how to do any of this. Just winging it, but this cord goes all the way up there to the top of this. Let me zoom in there. All the way to the top, and it sits down into this thing. So it's like down in, and then there's a screw on top of this right here sitting down in. So there's no way for me to like just push up on this and get this cord out easily. This is not an easy swap. I believe I would have to drop the whole valve body, which I've never done before, don't know what I'm doing, but I think this screw, this one, and then maybe that one, and maybe that one. So probably 4, maybe 6 screws hold it in. It could be all of these as well though, I don't know. I hope it's not, but the last thing I want to do is undo these 4, 6, or maybe all of them, drop this and have like, you know, springs, valves, bearings, you know, whatever that's in there falling out from the sides. That would be a worst case scenario for me because I don't know what I'm doing. I would not be able to put them back together But one thing I did notice is whenever I dropped this thing, there was a spring in here. And where's it at? This is the plate that goes on top of that. Somehow, like so, I believe. And this is the part that was up in there, like that. And there's a spring that goes in there. It's your 3/4 Overdrive accumulator spring. And here it is. It's busted. We've got our new 3/4 accumulator spring. I think I was calling it the Overdrive spring before, but as you can see, the old one is nice and busted up. And this just goes like that, the piston, and sits up in the transmission with this covering it. Okay, so quick update. I actually noticed that there was a screw here, there's a screw here, and there's also one right here that holds this piece into the rest of this here. So it holds it in. And you can see, maybe, it's already a little bit loose. I didn't do that last screw. So I'm gonna undo that, and we're gonna see if we can just pull this down to get the overdrive solenoid changed out. We'll see. Alright, so I did some more research. I actually found some really old videos of changing out this sensor, the overdrive one, right here. This whole piece that I was trying to get down does come down. There is a spring in here that comes out, but it's fine, it's just one spring. And there's actually, I guess, the other end of this plug on the outside of the transmission up there. There is a plug that you need to unplug. That's what this was caught on when I was trying to pull it down. But the thing is, I'm actually not gonna change this overdrive solenoid right now because it looks a little bit different. Look at this. Here's the new one, and there's the old one. They look ever so slightly different, and I'm wondering if this is maybe for a different transmission. I believe this transmission is a 46RH for the 1995 V8 Grand Cherokees. This solenoid might be for like a 44RE or 44 or 42 or 48, you know, I don't know. So the last thing I want to do is put in the wrong solenoid when, you know, it could just be this screw that fixes it. So we'll install that and see if it does the job.
You can see what I mean. I just googled 46RH transmission overdrive solenoid and two identical looking ones come up, but only the one on the right is for my transmission, supposedly. If anyone knows the difference between these solenoids or if they should work the same, leave me a comment down below. The new 3/4 accumulator spring and new transmission filter, then thoroughly clean the transmission pan and bolts with a whole can of brake cleaner.
Another I'm not a mechanic moment. I bought 2 jugs of premium ATF, but I realized that what I used previously was ATF plus 4, which specifically says for Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep. I'm not getting that Mopar stuff, it's just more expensive, but that's not what I need, I don't think. It'll work, but I mean, I'm gonna take these back. I still have the receipt, and we'll see if I could just get a bunch of quarts of this. I don't think they had it in jugs. Alright, back from O'Reilly's, and they did have ATF plus 4 for Chrysler, Dodge, Plymouth, Jeep. Nice.
Adding transmission oil now, and then I did check it and add some more with the engine running at temperature in neutral. Here I'm filling up my transfer case with some transmission fluid as well since it has a slow leak. I didn't bother buying a hand pump, I just ended up using an old soap dispenser. Now it's time to get on the road and see if Overdrive works.
Okay, Okay, this is the hill I usually test overdrive. It's not on right now. The light is not onto the button. So I'm coasting down it, and usually it'll try and shift at some point here. And it's not. Interesting. Very weird. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, see what it's doing there? I don't know what the f that is, but it's like trying to shift. Turned on overdrive off now, and it doesn't do that anymore. It'll just stay at the steady low RPM.
Unfortunately, overdrive still does not work as far as I can tell. When I coast down that hill at 40 miles an hour, it seems like the transmission is repeatedly trying to shift into overdrive but is unable to. Then when I press the overdrive off button, I can coast down the hill without the Jeep trying to shift at all. It's not a huge deal since 4th gear at 60 miles per hour has me between 2,000 to 2,500 RPM, but it's something I'll definitely revisit in the future. Moving on to my starter and oil change. I poked a hole in the old filter, drained the oil, remove the old oil filter. Clean the area, then twisted on a new K&N Performance oil filter. I was always taught hand tight plus a quarter turn, so that's what I did, and it's always worked out fine for me. Removing the old starter was pretty easy. It just has 2 screws for the electrical connections and 2 bolts holding the thing in place. I also wanted to install this plate that the starter goes through because it covers the spinning flex plate and torque converter. Here's what the new starter and oil filter look like on there. On the right is the old starter, and on the left I cleaned it up a bit. Since it still works, I figured I'd keep it around in case I ever need it. And now just reconnecting the battery before the first start with the new oil and starter.
Alright, moment of truth. Please start and have no problems. Let's go.
Let's go.
All that's left now is to add a bit more oil so that it's topped off.
Oh, bang on the fucking money. Let's go. I can't believe I almost started it with this in there. I'm not a mechanic. Ugh. Eminent mechanic. I don't even mechanic. 0% mechanic. Okay.
To date, I drove over 1,000 miles in the Jeep. In the past 800 or so, it's actually been pretty reliable. It's the most mechanically sound it's been in years, and it also looks much better now too. That will be the topic for the next video. I'll show you how I did some bodywork, painted, clay-barred, polished, waxed, changed the headlights and taillights, and more. Lastly, I made a new Discord server. The invite link is in the description. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment for the algorithm, and subscribe for more.